Now, FPL might have not released, but it doesn't mean we can't start tinkering with our teams. Thanks to FPL.team, we're able to take a look at the fixtures and, of course, their estimated price points and put together a team for you. So that's what we're going to do in today's video. We're going to look at a mock draft. Now, before we head into today's video, of course, if you do enjoy any of the content that you see on the channel, please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, as we are trying to hit 15,000 subscribers before the start of the new FPL season, and it would be absolutely stupendous if we could hit that goal. Let's first off take a look at some data from experimental361.com. Make sure to go and check it out. I will leave a link in the description. This is taking a look at the best fixtures, kind of using the implied strength model. So the top 5 strongest teams, then we've kind of got the 6th to the 10th strongest teams, then the 6th to the 10th weakest teams, and then finally the 5 weakest teams. So as you can see here, you've got all your teams, obviously ranging from the newly promoted ones to then pretty much where everybody else finished, kind of not similar to last season. I've just seen where Manchester United are. Ignore that, I thought it was. But as you can see, it kind of outlines which teams we probably should be looking to target with our matchday 1 draft. So taking a look at Liverpool, obviously they're opening 3, a little bit difficult. They do, of course, play 2 of the 5 strongest teams within there. However, their September looks pretty decent, with of course one of the weakest. Then they've got 2 kind of the second batch of the weakest sides here as well. So I still think it is going to be worth having Mohamed Salah. I think match day 1 definitely the best captaincy option, with of course Bournemouth losing so many defenders. Then I'm probably looking at 4 and 5 as well as also a pretty decent captaincy option for Mohamed Salah there. Arsenal, I think their first 2 games are pretty decent. After that, though, I really don't want any Arsenal players. So I think unless you were planning on maybe going for an early wildcard, probably not going to have too much Arsenal on our initial drafts. We'll probably be looking around about 7 to 8 game week here to probably start bringing in some Arsenal assets. Anyway, City's run is pretty decent, to be honest. Obviously, they've got, one difficult fixture in September in match day 5. But other than that, some, really, really nice fixtures. And they're playing quite a lot of the bottom sides within their opening 10 fixtures as well. So I don't mind them as a potential side to be targeting. But of course, Chelsea are going to be the standout team. As you can see, there's no real red of the top 5 strongest till we get up until October. So I think a lot of people are going to be looking at double Chelsea, maybe even triple Chelsea as well with their initial teams. Same with Aston Villa as well. I definitely think, there's room to go for 1 or 2 of their assets on your opening draft as well. A difficult fixture in the opening game, but then, some really, really nice fixtures. Lots of the weakest sides coming up for them as well. In terms of other teams, I think maybe we should be looking to avoid. Obviously, we've spoke about Arsenal already. Newcastle also fit a little bit into that barrel. They've got some okay fixtures, but there's still some pretty difficult games scattered throughout there. United as well also feature as a team I probably would be looking to avoid with any kind of pick so far. A lot of transfer movement as well. And if you've watched any of my content from last season or the previous season, you do know I don't like to target teams where there is kind of, a lot of transfer movement early doors. It takes a while for players to settle, see which teams obviously, become their kind of key figures for that side as well. And obviously they're bringing in a lot of penalty takers like Cunha, potentially Brian Mbeumo as well. So who's going to take that responsibility? Is it still going to be Bruno Fernandes? There's a lot still in the air that I think, has to be decided, to be honest, before, of course, taking a look at these teams. In terms of our budget options where we might find some nice players, I think Nottingham Forest have got a decent set of fixtures. Only 1 red within their kind of opening 6 fixtures as well. So, the likes of Chris Wood, maybe, Alanga, Morgan Gibbs-White, maybe some of their cheap defenders, if they do come in at 4.5, definitely could be worth a look in again for this season. And I'm really liking the look of Sunderland as well. There's no red fixtures on here up until the end of October. So any kind of, cheap assets that they do get might be worth a little bit of bench fodder. If they've got a 4.5 million striker when the game releases, that could be an interesting option. Same goes with midfielders. Of course, if they've got a 4 million playing defender as well, will be worth looking at. Obviously, we're going to get some 4 million defenders probably from all the newly promoted sides, and I think if we do get one from Sunderland, there's definitely some games where I'm not opposed to playing one of those if, of course, they are facing against one of the kind of, other weaker sides within the league, or, of course, another newly promoted side, which Sunderland do actually have within their opening set of 5 fixtures. Anyway, like I said, this is the Premier League fixture difficulty model put together by experimental361.com. I will leave a link to it in the description so you can go and check it out for yourself and do your own kind of, review of the fixtures for the opening few game weeks. But let's go and take a look at my mock draft for match day 1. Okay, wasting no time, let's take a look at how the team is lining up then. Obviously, the prices are still yet to be revealed for the game. I imagine they'll start to come out maybe this week, maybe next week if they're really going to push the release of this game. But let's take a look at my team and how it is lining up then for the initial mock draft. Let's start off first with our goalkeeper. It is going to be Henderson, the 4th highest scoring goalkeeper within the game last season. I do believe he's going to come in at 4.5 million again. Palace managed to keep 11 clean sheets last year, and their data second half of the season from a defensive perspective was really, really decent. I think it is just going to be who is going to be the standout 4.5 million goalkeeper, picking them and sticking with them throughout the course of the season. Now, I put something together last season. I probably will do it again this season. Taking a look at goalkeeper data, where I found that a lot of goalkeepers actually pick up some of their most and their biggest mega hauls is against the top teams when they're making lots of saves and if they manage to pull off a clean sheet. The prime example from 2 seasons ago was Jordan Pickford. He picked up a large majority of his points from top opposition sides. Obviously, that famous result against Liverpool a couple seasons ago, if you remember back to that one, that was Jordan Pickford's biggest scoring total for that season. And like I said, he picked up most of his points from that period as well. So again, it's just finding that 4.5 million goalkeeper. As you can see, we've not gone for rotating goalkeepers either. I absolutely hate that. I don't think there's any point in it. Just pick one, play them rain or shine, whatever. They're a very minimal point scoring position anyway, so I don't really like them. In terms of our next defenders, I want to kind of talk about it as a collective. So we've got Udogie, Wan-Bissaka and Ezri Konsa. Now, all of these guys have got, rotating fixtures around that we can obviously just put them into each other, and I all like them if they come in at 4.5 million. Of course, Spurs and Udogie is going to be a little bit wait and see. Maybe there might be a potential better option that we find at that 4.5 million range, but I think getting an attacking fullback like him, somebody that I think Thomas Frank will really, really like, could be a decent option at 4.5. Obviously got that Burnley on the opening day. In terms of their other fixtures as well, City match day 2, so would sit on the bench. Bournemouth, West Ham, Brighton and Wolves though, not bad fixtures to be really targeting, to be honest. So I think he could be an interesting option at 4.5 million. We've seen in past seasons, obviously not the past 2, but Brentford have been one of those teams that can be very, very hard to break down. You do imagine Thomas Frank will probably implement some of that into Spurs, obviously considering what a shambolic defence they were at the back end of last season. Wan-Bissaka, really like this guy as a potential option. As you can see, it's a mixed bag of fixtures, I would say, for West Ham, but Sunderland on the opening day being pretty decent. Other than that, they've got some pretty decent standout fixtures. Palace, Everton, maybe Spurs, maybe Forest, they keep a clean sheet. Again, I don't mind if he comes in at that 4.5 million price range. And then finally, we're going to have Ezri Konsa. Obviously, the model we just saw was, highlighting how decent these Villa fixtures are. There's some good ones here, especially the Sunderland one. That is going to be the standout, but I always like to pick these kind of, cheaper rotating defenders. I think especially the way that they butchered the bonus system last season, it is going to be the way to play, probably only having 1 or 2 premium defenders. The rest all just kind of budget that rotate around each other, give each other that opportunity to go and get clean sheets. Other than that, like I said, the point scoring for defending last season was just shambolic, and it didn't really work with the new bonus system. Unless they tweak it, I'm not really going to change my defensive plans. Other than that, though, we do have Cucurella, who is going to be our premium. We saw, again, on that model that we just covered in a second, the decent fixtures for Chelsea. 6 goal involvements in his Club World Cup performances have definitely caught the eye for me and really, really passing the eye test some of the positions that he is getting into for an attacking fullback. And I think, with those opening set of fixtures, I think he's going to be a really, really good option. As you can see here, plenty of decent fixtures in there for Chelsea across the opening few weeks. So I really, really like Cucurella as the kind of premium defensive pick to be going for. And then, like I said, I really like Sunderland's fixtures. Obviously, they've got Burnley, where I'd feel pretty comfortable playing one of my defenders. The rest, probably not. But if I need to, I know at least I've got a playing 4 million defender. So I don't mind that as a potential option to go for. Moving into our midfield then, let's start off first with Jared Bowen. 21 goal involvements for an absolutely, just terrible West Ham side last season. A lot of West Ham fans saying it was the worst season they've seen in probably about 4 or 5 years. And yeah, Jarrod Bowen still managed to claw 21 goal involvements out of that. He is a talisman, and that is why I absolutely love him. Everything goes through him. It's one of my main things to target with, FPL, is picking those players that minutes definitely going to be secured, definitely going to be guaranteed, and Bowen fits that criteria. Pretty much plays 90 minutes when he is fit and available. 21 goal involvements, like I said, for a team that were woeful for large parts of the season. Why are you not picking Jarrod Bowen straight off the bat? Mohamed Salah, 29 goals, 18 assists. I think for me, the big appeal is, of course, best captaincy option for match day 1. I know Bournemouth last season were a pretty decent side, but they've lost a lot of key players, especially within that defensive area. So that is something I think, opening few weeks while they're trying to put that back line back together, definitely going to be worth targeting. Match day 2 and match day 3, a lot more difficult, but something, Salah could very easily score in both of those fixtures. 4 and 5, though, he does look like he is going to probably be the standout for captaincy as well. So that is why I've got him in this draft right now. Best captain for 1, best captain for 4 of 5 as well, in my opinion. Then we've gone for the double up of Chelsea. Now, I really wanted to try and find a way to go and get Cole Palmer within this side. However, it wasn't possible with, of course, Mohamed Salah and Erling Haaland in here. So we have had to make a sacrifice. And what I'm hoping is both Enzo and Neto could, of course, cover off Cole Palmer. Now, Cole Palmer is the talisman. He takes the penalties, lots of free kicks, and he is starting to gain his confidence back, I do feel, with, of course, the Club World Cup. Now, Enzo finished the season really strong, had a pretty decent Club World Cup himself. 6 goals, 7 assists, 46 million pound midfielder with really decent fixtures to start the season. I don't mind that. I like that as an option. Same with Pedro Neto as well, but of course there is going to be a lot of rotation within those wide areas. Of course they've got European football again, so maybe that is a little bit of a risk, and maybe we should just try and find a way to go and get Cole Palmer in here and maybe find that cheaper midfielder or that cheaper forward that of course can enable this move to potentially come off as well. But I like both of these guys, but I would prefer to have Cole Palmer in ahead of both of them, to be honest. But I think it's maybe me just kind of having a little bit of a play around with pre-season and stuff like that, seeing what minutes are like, seeing what Cole Palmer's overall performance is like as well. Let's move on to our final midfielder. Nearly left out the forwards. It is going to be Kevin Schade. Now, I do feel with, of course, Bryan Mbeumo potentially on his way out of the club, somebody is going to have to step up and be kind of, the new talisman for this side. And I think Kevin Schade definitely has the capability of that. We saw that in the second half of the season. 11 goals, 2 assists. He is quite good. Can play as a forward, can play out wide. Yeah, just lots going for him, to be honest. This team is actually 0.5 million over budget because he's currently priced at 6 million. If he was to come in at 6 million, the rest of the players probably would just swap him out for Damsgaard as well. Again, could be one of those players that does fit that criteria. Takes a lot of the free kicks and corners as well, and was a little bit of an assist machine for Brentford as well. And Brentford's fixtures aren't terrible. Like, you look at those games and you go, if they'd kept Thomas Frank, kept Bryan Mbeumo, you would be like, yeah, I'd probably have Bryan Mbeumo for this. I'd probably have Visser for this. But because they've lost their manager, people are a little bit sceptical of them. But I still think, there's some good fixtures in here. And you never know with Brentford. They're just one of those weird teams that definitely can surprise a few FPL managers. Let's move on then into our strikers. We're going to start off first with Erling Haaland. 22 goals for him. A little bit of a disappointing campaign, but he's starting to find his form again at the Club World Cup. Obviously, new attacking players for Manchester City as well. Represents a good captaincy option against Wolves in match day 1. Match day 3 and match day 4, I probably would like him as the captain. And then match day 6 as well. Definitely probably my standout captaincy pick. 3 and 4, I think, we could maybe look at Cole Palmer potentially going in there as well as another potential option, but I don't mind it with Erling Haaland having the armband if he, again, can find his feet and start banging in the goals as well. And if he is coming down at price, it would be great to have him back within our sides. Next up is going to be Chris Wood. 20 goals for him. Obviously, Nottingham Forest having an absolutely outstanding season overall. Brentford were disappointing at the back last season. One of the worst sides for XG conceded. These fixtures here are really good, especially 5 and 6 here. West Ham were right down there in terms of their defensive numbers as well. So you're pretty much going to be playing, these two teams here, definitely worth targeting early doors. Brentford were right down there for XG conceded. West Ham were right down there as well. So probably bar Arsenal and Palace away, Chris Wood is looking like a really, really good standout option, and maybe could get off to the same start he did at the start of last season. But, you know, Forest and him, they really did obviously kind of, you know, run their race towards the back end of the season. It'll be interesting to see how they cope with European football as well. Finishing up, it is going to be Dominic Solanke, Burnley in match day 1. Pretty tasty fixture for him. I just think Thomas Frank, and I'm a big fan of Thomas Frank. Anybody knows, probably Brentford are my second team. They're the team I like within the Premier League. He just knows how to create attacking football and get the best out of attacking players. And Dominic Solanke has done it in the Premier League before. Not an overall great season for him at Spurs last year. 9 goals, 3 assists. It just wasn't great. But overall, it could be a standout option. I've seen him in a few teams. Again, the fixtures a little bit hit and miss, so maybe there might be better options that do, of course, showcase themselves. Maybe I'm thinking of potentially putting in like a Visser here with, of course, the Brentford fixtures that we went through. But again, it is all dependent on what price he does come in at. That is going to conclude today's video, and of course, our first draft for the season. This is the mock draft. Like I said, if you have enjoyed today's video and want to see, you know, more FPL content from myself, make sure you're hitting that like button and, of course, the subscribe button, as we're trying to hit 15k before the end of the season. But thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck in match day 1.